Okay, so what's up?
So thank you so much for doing this interview. It really means a lot. So we're going to begin this interview with, some questions throughout your career and just basic questions for you. So we'll begin it. You've been out the ring after that Centeno fight. Great performance, by the way. That was a great fight. I was picking you to win that, by the way.
Thanks.
No problem. Who's one fighter or multiple fighters that you want to call out for your next opponent?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really don't do the call out stuff. I mean, I'm available to fight anywhere from 60 to 68. I mean, obviously everybody knows I was campaigning pretty hard for the Canelo opportunity. Simply because I was promised that opportunity back 4 years ago. It was that if I beat Gabe Rosado, there was a second contract that we signed and said I would get Canelo, and I know that where the odds were against me so heavy that they would just for sure that they had a win, and it didn't go that way that night. So it ended up, I ended up winning, and by unanimous decision. And the thing I'm just like, yo, like you guys betted hard against me, and I actually won. So can I at least get my opportunity? So I mean, Canelo. It's a couple other guys out there that I think will make good fights, but as of right now, it's Canelo or it could be a Eubanks or like a Matt Korobov or a Charlo. It doesn't matter.
Those are all great answers and all very good fights as well. I saw on your Instagram, Damian Lillard, gave you a bit of a shout out on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my favorite basketball player, by the way, for a while now. How does it feel to get, respect from, a huge celebrity in Damian Lillard?
That was big, and that was confirmation that that I've been doing the right thing. That my team, and my family, we've been doing the right thing. To have someone of that level say, I watch all of the big name fighters, and then the first name he mentioned was Willie Monroe. Like, that was it gave me confirmation that my push and my walk in this thing, no matter what nobody has said, has touched some of the right people.
Yes, great. There's many people who just started watching the sport. Maybe not everyone's heard of you yet. However, to the people watching my video, what should they expect when they watch Willie Monroe in the boxing ring?
Just skill, craftiness, skill, athleticism, speed. I carry it all. I believe I do. And a fun fight. I'll fight on the inside. I'll fight from the outside. You know what I mean? Like there's nowhere in the area there's no area in the ring where I won't fight. So I just personally think I put on great fights.
Exactly. What was your story? What got you into boxing? What made you realize you wanted to become a boxer?
Well, I come from a primarily a family that's like our lineage is boxing. My great uncle beat Marvin Hagler. My grandfather, he was a really good amateur fighter. Out of all the brothers, my uncle Willie is the one who took it the furthest. And then when my grandfather had his firstborn son, which is my dad, he named him after his son. After his brother, I meant. So, like the lineage of boxing in the family is it's like almost like a family heirloom that's passed down,
Yeah, I actually heard about him beating Marvin Hagler, an amazing fighter. That's a huge feat that not many have been able to do. For sure. And, your nickname, El Mongoose, where'd that nickname come from? It's a very unique nickname. What made you decide to go with that nickname?
The thing that made me go with El Mongoose is, well, my background. My grandfather is Afro-Cuban, so you had to throw the Spanish flavor on there. And, that's where the boxing comes from. That's where our boxing blood comes from. So I had to show that love. And I was working with a good friend named Sammy Torres. And I'm from upstate New York. So up there is, it's like like in New York City, it's a huge Hispanic, population. And boxing up there was already this guy named El Gato. So I was calling myself El Gato, and there was another guy named Frankie Figueroa. and his name was El Gato. So I was like, man, I can't go with that name. He had it first, and my friend Sammy was like, yo, like you're more like a mongoose anyway. Like, you know, you get low to the ground and you're very you're low center of gravity. You're very fast, reflexes, and you know, he was telling me that mongooses hunt cobras, which you're a little too young to know this, but I don't know if anyone has ever told you about a cartoon named Ricky Tikki Tavi.
I haven't heard of that.
So, but mongooses hunt cobras,
Yeah.
and man, when I saw a mongoose take down a cobra on these videos on YouTube, I was like, yo, that's got to be my name.
Yeah,
So from there,
yeah.
And then it stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a big snake guy. I've seen those videos of mongooses taking down cobras. Really cool, man, because they, you know, they're huge underdogs and they pull it off.
Oh yeah.
So throughout your career, what has been your current career-defining moment? What moment do you think, you know, made yourself, you know, who you are today?
I mean, I think all of the moments, you know, play a pivotal part in, you know, making me who I am today. But I would say my biggest moment where I was like, I just rest assured and said, I know I'm made for this was probably Boxino. You know, I went through a tournament where we fought a lot of tough guys, and every fight I was the underdog. To this day, because I know myself, I didn't understand why I was the underdog, but like to be made the underdog and such an underdog and to win in the fashion that I won in, you could only write that in a story. So I would say that was probably my most gratifying moment thus far in boxing, where I actually was able to, you know, pull a rabbit out of the hat 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that's excellent, man. Just like the mongoose, you know, perfect fitting.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, as I was saying, you know, you promote on your Instagram account, you know, veganism and the healthy diet. Have you noticed improvements in your fighting? I don't know if you've been vegan your whole life, but off of being vegan.
Yes, I mean, it's definitely easier to make weight.
That's
But yeah, I just have a more clear mind, you know, more clear thoughts. You know, they say you are what you eat, you know, and if you eat from love, then you become love. If you eat from whatever you eat from, you become that, you know, and I just, I don't want to I don't want to be crass or vulgar, but, you know, when I say eat from love, I mean things that God creates, you know, that grows out of the ground, that comes from, that can keep on, you know, reproducing in that fashion, you know, where animals, everything comes from God. However, animals are, you know, like they're DNA byproduct. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I just don't believe in eating anything else that has a DNA like close to mine.
Yeah, it's respectable.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to young kids that want to get into the sport? You know, what would you tell them, you know, to do to become a top level boxer?
Number one, educate yourself. Just like anything else, don't think that this is something you can come into and, you know, I'm athletic, or I got fast hands, or I have power, or they told me I could punch hard, or this, like, come into this with education of boxing. Be teachable, you know, and be real careful, you know what I mean, with how you step in this game, because and enjoy. If you started as an amateur, obviously enjoy the amateurs, have fun, enjoy, learn, have fun. Don't take it very serious, but don't take it so serious to the point to where, you know, it breaks your life. Like, enjoy it, because here I am as a professional. I had 142 amateur fights. Nobody ever talks about any of those fights.
Yeah.
You get what I'm That was learning time. You know what I mean? How many people do you hear talk about, you know, LeBron's college game? You know?
High school.
Or high,
Yeah. You're good.
college. But do you get what I'm saying? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. You know, they sleep on the amateur system, but it is influential, you know?
No, it's a very strong and pivotal part of becoming great. You know what I mean? If you look at Lomachenko, look at Roy Jones, look at, you know, Ford, look at Floyd Mayweather. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the guys that you name that became great champions, they also had a very decorated and big amateur career. You learn a lot. So if you're coming into the game, just enjoy it, be teachable, have fun, and enjoy the process, because it's definitely a tough one.
Yeah, it's grueling, man. Those sports as tough as boxing. Someone that never went pro, obviously me, but someone that's trained in it, I could tell you, it's the toughest sport in the world.
Yeah. I've tried sports. Nothing's like boxing.
Nothing. So what fighters would you recommend, people wanting into sport to check out? What were some of your inspirations in the sport?
I'm a very old school guy, so some of my inspirations would have been like Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, obviously Roy Jones Jr., that's my idol. Ray Robinson, Carmen Basilio. Who else? Ali is one of my favorites to watch. I learned a lot from Ali. Holyfield. I learned a lot from Holyfield. Even some of the newer guys like Andre Ward. I would suggest a young fighter coming up, watches, someone like Andre Ward, Tevin Farmer.
Yeah.
Like, guys that I watched, I say Tevin Farmer because he's not afraid to be creative, and you need that in boxing. And I say Andre Ward because he's very, very fundamentally sound. No matter how strong he is, no matter how fast he is, he knows that he has all of these abilities, but he's still disciplined enough to stick to the fundamentals. And I would say watch a lot of Andre Ward for younger kids coming up.
Yeah, definitely. And I could see all those guys a little bit in your style of blend, I could sense it a little bit,
Oh, that's dope. Thank you.
No problem. Now, next question I want to ask, what are some hobbies that you do outside of boxing?
Outside of boxing, it's just a lot of family stuff, man. We just recently relocated to Florida, so we love
Florida too, man. It's nice.
Yeah, what part?
South Florida, Miami range.
Oh, okay, cool. I honestly, I just left from down there in the Boca Raton area.
It's nice there. That's
cool.
Yeah,
we live up in Tampa, the Tampa Clearwater.
Oh, yeah, I just been to St. Petersburg. It's nice there. It's nice.
Yeah, St. Pete too. We just moved here from New York, so we've only been here a year, so we're just like enjoying learning the scenery around here. So we just hop in a car and go places, and check out nice houses and get into a lot of stuff.
It's funny. I'm also from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, Bensonhurst.
Oh, you're from the same area Paulie Malinagi's from.
Yeah. I lived there. I moved when I was young, but I go there a lot. It's a lot different than here, that's for sure,
Definitely.
All right. My next thing I want to ask you, is there any potential fight date on the horizon for you right now, or you're still, figuring that out?
Still figuring it out. Haven't heard anything. The last we heard was the possible of being in the mix for Canelo, back before his lawsuit. And now that it may be Caleb Plant. So, we haven't heard anything about an actual date. But, there also has to be an undercard to that fight, and you just never know who you could get.
Of course, yeah. That could work out, too. You could also be there, if COVID and a lot of fighters having to pull out, you could also be, and the undercard is an alternative.
Right.
That could work out for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, how, man?
I'm 15, bro.
Yo, man, you know a lot, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I like that. You're educated.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Well, This is pretty much near the end of the interview. I just want to wrap it up by saying, tell everyone some of your social medias and where to find you.
You can find me everywhere at Willie Monroe Jr. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere.
Great. Thank you so much. This was a great interview. I appreciate it so much. It means a lot. No problem. And I'm very excited to see your next fight. We'll all be rooting for you.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you as well. See you.
Yo, peace.
Peace.